then he, whatever.
Like,
Eventually
the part where he
retired.
wanted to go to college with the depression hit.
Right. He had straight A's. He wanted to go into
Yeah.
advertising apparently, but he had straight A's and the depression hit.
Yeah.
How about how you met Dad? Right, you were at some party.
Oh yeah, it was at a party. A single girlfriend of mine was having a party, and after a while, everybody kind of cleared a space in the middle of the living room, and so people could dance. And I looked across the room, and there were three, young men standing there, and your father,
Right.
Jim Carney, and Steve Grandy.
Yeah.
And I walked over there, and I just said to the three of them, I said, "I'd like to dance. Does anyone here dance?"
Right.
And your dad was the first one off the mark. He said, "Yeah, I dance."
Right.
So we danced, and then he said something about, I could take you home, when it got late. I said, "Well, I came here with my girlfriend." This girlfriend's name was unique. First name Hope, middle initial I, last name Twist.
Hope I twist. Yeah.
I said, "Well, I came with a girlfriend, He said, "Well, we can drop her off too." So he took us up. Now this party was in Sandburg Village, and I lived up on the near north side of far north Chicago. And he took me home. By the time we got there, while we'd been inside, it had snowed really heavily, and I wasn't wearing boots, And the plow had come along and put up berms of snow on the side of the road. So he helped me get over that berm, and then walked me up to the door. And I went in, and I said, "Well, thanks, thank you." And he said, "I'd like to have your phone number." And I said, "Well, let me get a pencil and paper." And he said, No, that's okay. Just tell me the number. I'll remember it."
I thought the story was you were gonna leave, and then you had to ask him, "Well, do you want my phone number?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." I thought it was like one of those, like he was kind of bashful, like you're gonna look like, "I can't believe this guy is driving me home. He's not gonna ask for my number at the end of the night."
I don't recall.
Okay, well maybe
Either way.
Yeah, but anyway, so
I was impressed with the fact that he said, "Well, just tell me the number and I'll remember it."
Right.
And then I realized later that, when we went on dates, like I said, I lived up on the far north end of the city of Chicago. He would drive in from Oak Park.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a long haul.
Yeah.
To take me out. So.
Where was he living? Was he in an apartment with
Bob?
Bob? Or Bob was already married.
Right?
Yeah. So he had his own single apartment.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think
Or
he was living with his mom in Oak Park.
Oh, he's living with his mom.
Probably in Oak Park. So anyway, I do remember after I met his mother. Afterwards, later on, I said, "So how did it go? What did she think?" And he said, "Well, she just told me to be careful because I was a divorcee."
Right.
So that was the beginning of that.
Well, whose party was it that you went to? So you must have.
I had a single girlfriend who took me to the party. It was her girlfriend in Sandburg Village.
Okay.
I don't know who.
And then somehow Dad or Jim Carney knows the host of that party or a friend of.
So somehow they got.
Somehow you guys are.
The three of them were there.
Somehow there's 2 degrees of separation between you guys.
I was hurt though. Later we went to another party like that when we were single, and Dick knew the girl that was hosting the party.
Yeah.
I didn't know anyone there. And I'm sitting on the sofa. He gets up and he leaves me. And after a while, I look over, and he's in an intense conversation with the hostess, another young woman, over there near the dining room. And I'm thinking, well, what's going on here? Next thing I know, she comes walking and going choo 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 choo, and your dad is holding on behind her and holding her waist.
Mm-hmm.
And he taps some girl, and they go choo 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 into a bedroom there off the living room.
Mm-hmm.
After a few moments, they come out choo 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 choo, and the last person taps someone else. Boy, girl, boy, girl.
Right.
And I'm sitting there, and I'm sitting there, and I'm sitting there. Finally, somebody, and the line is like 7, 8 people long at this point. Mm-hmm. They come out, choo, 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 and somebody taps me, and I get on the last one on. We go choo, 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 and I get to see what goes on in the bedroom.
Right.
But we get to the bedroom, we're in this line, and the first person turns around and kisses the second person on the cheek, or
Right.
whatever. Boy, girl, boy, kiss, 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 kiss.
Right.
Gets to me, and this person turns around and lightly slaps me in the face.
Right.
That's
It's like
the
an
joke.
initiation thing.
That's
But then
joke.
you get to kiss the person.
All right, and it keeps going.
Right.
Well, anyway, I was real thrilled about this. And,
Get a prank pulled on you.
Yeah.
And that was the first big argument you had.
yeah, I went out and I think I left. I think that was the occasion I left. I sat in the car. He came out.
Right.
Just take me home.
Right.
And he took me home, and I went in, and I want to talk to him. He stood there at the door for ever so long.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. Finally, I opened the door.
Right.
And we sort of made up. But I thought that was like, reading the butt of a cheap joke. When you don't know anyone there,
Right.
you feel like you're a fish out of water anyway. You feel very vulnerable. So,
Right.
anyway, that was part of our courtship.
Right.
And then, of course, I think I told you the bit about when you told his mother about me. She told me, well, just be careful.
Right.
Because I was a divorcee.
Right. But then you became Grandma's favorite because she mistook you for the nurse for you because she had blonde hair. Like, oh, Diana's taking great care of me or whatever.
Oh, yeah, at the end. That was just.
We got confused.
Yeah, it was
taking,
strange. Yeah,
taking care of her.
Yeah.
And then so when you met Dad, she was married to Baxter at the time, or did they meet and get
Yeah.
married later?
Yeah.
So when did he? Because he might.
He died of Lou Gehrig's disease. Youngish, like 40 something.
Well, and then Dad's father, Leo Berg.
That's what I
died.
meant.
Oh, but what about Baxter? She remarried.
Remarried and
Christine remarried someone Baxter.
Married him, and I don't remember.
What he passed away from, but he must have been relatively young too, probably 60s, mid 60s at least.
Well, they were comparable in age.
Right,
She
but
was
he-
much younger than him.
Mid 60s though, right? Because she passed away before I was born. But I think Mike was alive when Christine Berg's second husband.
Christine was the oldest of 9 children. Her parents, they came over from Europe, like from let me get this straight. They met and married over here. They didn't marry in the old country.
Right.
And she was the oldest of 9.
So she was probably, she knew fluent German, whereas I think their siblings didn't know German. Like the younger ones, the younger Nagels or Nagels.
Yeah, I don't know about that part. But large family there. So.
But you didn't go to her second. She was already remarried by the time you met Dad, right? You didn't go to.
No, he died 3 years before I met him yet. He had died at the age of 65.
Leo Berg.
Leo
What
Berg,
about Baxter?
Oh,
second
well, no, then she married, and
Were you around though when they got remarried, or were they already married?
I think I was around. I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Because Mike remembers Baxter,
Oh yeah.
right? So he was alive for maybe until Mike was 2 or 3 years old or something, or maybe 4. You could probably ask Mike about it. I was just curious if, like, you remember attending a wedding, her second wedding or something like that, or if they were already married when you met Dad or not.
I know offhand. I can't recall that part.
Right. Do you recall what he did? Wasn't he like a doctor or something?
Who, Baxter?
Yeah.
No. No, he was in business of some kind of thing.
But then Dad's dad worked for General Electric.
Yeah, he invented.
The refrigerator light, I think that.
Yeah, he invented the idea of putting a light that turns on when you open the door of the refrigerator, and then later they put it into their ovens, and as a result, they awarded him with a lot of stock in the company.
Right.
And
Yeah,
and
all
it
the
was-
patents belong
it's,
to
you know,
GE.
even when he became, because he had MS, even when he had to use a wheelchair, they made accommodations to get him in. They built ramps and things that could still go
Right.
to work. He was a valued employee.
I seem to remember Jim Carney saying, yeah, he passed away when Dad was in college. So maybe, I don't know if it was when he was getting his master's or he was at Purdue during ROTC or something.
Yeah, that I don't know.
But it was,
But I never met him. Yeah, he died 3 years before I met my dad. So
right. Okay, so then Christine remarried pretty quickly then. Within those 3 years, she remarried Baxter.
yeah,
Probably around that time. And then they were only together for a while before he passed away. Then. Was she living in Oak Park, or was she?
yeah,
I thought
in Elmwood Park.
I thought the story was she went on vacation and then they kind of sold the house from under her and then moved her.
She
to
lived in Elmwood Park,
Elmwood Park, yeah.
and she, I guess, needed to. Well, no, she had, what happened? She put her in the hospital. She was in the hospital. Oh, I remember now. Your father, your uncle, dropped her off to get her hair done on North Avenue and pulled away. She took a few steps and fell down.
Oh, yeah,
in
that's
front of the
That's
store.
when she got to the nursing home and never made it back to home.
That's right. She was in the hospital for 2 weeks, and after that, she went right into a nursing home.
But before that, she lived in Oak Park.
No, she lived in Elmwood Park.
No,
They grew up in Oak Park.
right, and then I
She
think
was in this little house, a little ranch house in Elmwood Park.
right, but I think the deal was Mary was already married to Bob, Dad's brother, and then they kind of just said like the house is getting too big for you, and then they sold the house. And
May
then
have that.
Elmwood Park. Or
Because
something.
she was living in Elmwood Park when she
Right,
came to the end of the road.
right. And then Don.
She walked one time. Now we lived at the time we lived on. I think we were on Bonnie Brace. We were on the far eastern side of River Forest. I remember one day the doorbell rang, and she had walked over.
Yeah, it was a good mile and a half or so, maybe one way.
But here's the thing: she had this plate of like chocolate chip cookies,
Yeah.
and I thanked her for them and this and that, and then she I went in the kitchen and I don't know why, for some reason, when I bit a cookie and I cracked the cookie open, and there was crushed glass in the cookies.
Yeah. Oh, that was when she was having dementia.
Oh,
I thought
yeah.
People were against her. I didn't know
Yeah.
that story.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah, she used to fall asleep with the TV on and then
I think there was something
audio, like some weird
one time
story.
we all had to go over there because she swore there was a man in her attic.
Mm,
She could hear him stomping around up there.
yeah.
Well, so we all went over there, and the boys got out a ladder and put up a ladder and looked all around the modifier. She had an attached garage attached to the house,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm thinking maybe a raccoon had been up there or something. I don't know, but there was no man in her attic.
Right. But before she started losing it, I guess she was like a really good Grinch player or something, or pretty. I thought she was like I think Mary told me like she was a really strong
Probably,
Grinch player.
yeah.
And then she was a good cook too, right? Or she would make the whatever. She hosted Thanksgiving. We typically have Thanksgiving
Oh yeah, we
dinners over
typically
there.
have
She made
Thanksgiving
turkey.
dinner.
Right, and it's typically us and the other cousins, whereas Don Berg moved to,
So
the
he went out
oldest
to
brother went out to West
California.
Coast. Yeah,
Went out to the LA area.
and he was an engineer as well, right? They were
Right.
all engineers. I
Yeah.
think he was mechanical, whereas Dad and Uncle Bob were basically
Computer.
software, software,
stuff.
which was kind of cutting edge at the time, but basically they started the Navy and learned.
And your father's older brother Don, he had 3 kids. The little one, Kristen, developed like
Lupus.
three diseases. I think one of them
All autoimmune,
yeah, all 3 autoimmune diseases, and died in her like
20s.
26 or something.
Right. She had lupus, I think.
Lupus and Crohn's and a third one.
Right.
It's just sad.
Yeah, I think Grandma was upset about that. Her passing away, was kind of her fixated on her passing away too young. And then he moved from basically California all the way to East Coast, North Carolina, Donberg, right? Like Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Or something
Yeah, yeah. He remarried eventually, and nice gal.
Right, redhead. I can't remember her name.
Uh,
But his wife passed away. Don Berg's wife passed away. The first wife, she had an aneurysm or something as well, right? So she, like, pretty young as well, like 30s or early 40s. Because then he remarried. Then the redhead, they met like at church or something like that. She left her Bible behind or something.
oh yeah, I remember that. She was
But
a
his
big gal.
first wife,
We used
yeah,
to visit her. Yeah, she
Right,
was a lot of fun. They lived on a golf course too,
right.
on the edge of a golf course. It was pretty cool.
But yeah, his first wife, like it was like one of those weird things where she had like a brain aneurysm and just dropped dead, like no forewarning or something like that. From my recollection. Kind of similar to was it the Jacobs? Or one of the tennis club members, she passed away. Ellis Jacobs' mom passed away, and was it Eric Millar was over there when she said, "Oh, I have a horrible headache," and then she just collapsed and died.
God,
And
I
Eric
remember
Millar
that.
was there. Yeah, Eric Millar was over there, like returning something to her, and he happened to be there when she basically went
Or
unconscious.
she came to the door to return something. And,
Yeah.
and-
And it's like,
Yeah,
oh, so I have a horrible
doorway.
headache, and then
yeah, kind of. She came to return something or what.
right. Which is, I think, similar to kind of what happened with Don Berg's wife. She just collapsed.
Yeah.
Like had just one of those weird flu issues where you have
Right.
aneurysm and pass out. So yeah. So I don't know what other stuff can we cover. What about you guys moved? I'm assuming after you married, you guys were in an apartment together for a while, and then moved out to River Forest.
Yeah, we were
Eventually,
in
you know,
an apartment in Oak Park for about 3 years or so, and then.
And he was working at that time. You were working for the AMA, American Medical Association.
Yeah, I worked for about 7 years after we got married. When did I quit?
Right before Mike was
I
born.
think I worked up until I was 3 months pregnant with my first child.
And Dad was working at that time probably for IBM, maybe. Did he work for IBM or maybe like as a contractor?
I think he went independent for a while.
Yeah, I think that was not until later. I think he was at IBM up until 84, 85 or something like that, like when I was in 4th grade. And then I think he started his isomorphic systems.
There you go, isomorphic systems. He started his own thing, and he was his own.
With a couple ragtag, 2 other guys. One guy was Ernie Anderson. Right?
Oh yeah, Ernie, the eccentric Ernie
Yeah,
Anderson.
but he was kind of the eccentric genius.
Yeah, eccentric. Right, he had a code or something. He'd written a code or something that was the core of their
One of their software platforms.
software or
Yeah,
something.
that they
He'd
were
written
selling.
something.
Yeah.
But in terms of normal personal
Right.
interchanges and
Right. I
social
think the deal
things,
was he would make something that was really,
it was
really
marketable.
well unmarketable. That's what it was. He'd make so then they'd have to direct his attention. Like, well, we don't. It's really cool you did that, but it doesn't serve any. There's no marketable purpose
Oh, I
for
don't
it.
know
But
about
then
that.
they would direct him to like, well, how about this or whatever. They would figure out a need and then they would direct him into something. And then I think Dad would guide him and the other guy. I can't remember the other guy's name. But so then you guys had an apartment and you found the house in River Forest, and like that would have been before Mike was born, or was that after Mike was born that you guys?
Well,
previous to so Mike was born in 72. I don't know
72.
when you moved out to River Forest, that house on Forest Avenue there, right?
Yeah, I would think we had moved in. Yeah, I remember cleaning. The place was left in a mess. It was just terrible. And I remember I was like 8, 9 months pregnant, and I'd work from sun up till sundown without stopping. And I remember my mother-in-law coming by and bringing a meal. She says, "You're not eating."
Right.
I was like a demon because I was pregnant. Michael's on the way. We got this house, but it was left like a pit.
Right.
In fact, I guess the couple that we bought it from, they were getting a divorce.
Right.
And they had a teenage daughter, and they had a younger son, about 10. Now, in that house, there was a chute that went from the second floor laundry chute, it's very dirty clothes, and it goes down a tube, and it opens up from a thing in the basement ceiling.
Right.
I go down there after we moved in, I open that thing up, a whole load of dirty laundry
Free
falls
clothes.
out, including the teenage girls' Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday underpants.
Right.
They're labeled Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then a little while later, there was a porch attached to the back of the kitchen, and there was like a half-wall divider there with a planter in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I took that metal thing from the middle of the wooden thing up to do something. And I turned it over, and you know that machine they used to have, it would punch out numbers on a piece of sticky plastic and the label.
Yeah, I have one of those. Yeah, the label maker. Yeah.
I picked up the planter, and I went to go watch. I turned it upside down, and there's the sticker thing was F you.
Right. It's a nice little joke.
Oh, and then the other thing was a little scarier, is in that house in the kitchen, it had canvas wallpaper on the walls, which was pretty thick and had been painted over.
Mm-hmm.
And there was the telephone was a wall phone there, just at the end of the L-shaped booth, and the phone was on the wall. And I'm standing there looking at on the phone, and I'm looking at the wall, and I realized, looking closer, that just below the phone, dug into the canvas in 3 or 4 places, is a little pie shape. I realized you make that mark, you stab something and turn it, stab and turn it.
Right.
Like, oh boy. These people were really not getting along.
Right.
And I remember my neighbor telling me, she said, "Oh, the fights they had, it was just terrible to hear it from over here."
Right. Well, then you had that neighbors, the Tolkiens, right there.
Tolkien's, yeah, she was the.
I don't know if they were directly next door, right? But
Yeah, they were right next door. They were one door south of us.
Were they like really nice to Mike? Like you go over there and they always give him candy or something
whenever
like
he'd
that?
come over there, she'd come over here and have a cookie. She'd give him a cookie.
Right.
You know, they were sweet people.
Yeah, I know.
Lou and Hal, Lucille and Hal Tolkien. They were just great neighbors.
Right.
They were nice. She said, "Yeah, we used to hear it from over here."
Yeah, the nesting instinct was strong then at that time.
What?
The nesting instinct, as they say when you're pregnant, like when you get the nesting instinct.
Well, yeah, like I said, we moved into this house. The previous people were just pigs, the kid, you know, everything, because they were unhappy.
Right.
Oh, to top it off, it was on a walkthrough before we moved in. I go upstairs to the second floor, go to the master bedroom. It's got a white cover on the bed, and there, just where you'd sit down, is a patch about 7, 8 inches of blood.
Well, and then wasn't there like some strange stories with like the babysitters? I don't know if that happened to Mike per se, but one of the babysitters, I don't know if it happened to our house, but they took the guard, like friends.
Oh,
came
she
over
had
and
friends. She had her teenage boy. She had a teenage party over, and we come home. We pull up in the back, and the patio has been trashed. The furniture has been all turned over. They even dumped out the planters on the front porch.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm out there immediately. I'm into it, picking things up. And he goes inside and he gets this girl, and without saying anything, and then and she just lived 2 blocks away, and he drove her home.
Mm-hmm.
He drives her home, and the next thing I know, the phone is ringing. It's her mother
Mm-hmm.
how dare you accuse my daughter of it? I said, I wish you could see this place. They threw eggs outside on the brick walls.
Mm-hmm.
And they did something inside too.
I thought they took like the garden hoses and put them in the kitchen and.
Oh yeah, no, that was the neighbor 2 doors down. I started to talk to it, and she said, "Oh, I had our house. We had the back windows open in the back, and she went to the garden hose and put it through the windows. They didn't do that at my house."
Yeah. Well, was she trying to claim like I don't know these are these crazy vandals that I didn't have a party? Like
I don't know, but
Yeah.
he took her home, and the next thing I know, the mother's calling me like almost immediately. How dare you? I said you should see what.
Was this the same babysitter when you came home and then there was tape over my eyebrow because the scar I have over my eyebrow probably the stitches.
Nice. I think
blood
that
through.
might have been a different.
That might be when
babysitter.
we're in the other house.
But I remember that she said, he took a tumble and he fell into the corner of the cocktail table. And I went upstairs. The hall light was coming in from the hall, and I looked over at you, and it was a little scary because we just been to a scary movie.
I think that was the story you talked about, Mike. I don't know
Or
if
maybe
it's
it
a
was
different
Mike.
one. Yeah, he
I
just
just
opened his
popped
eyes.
open.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
probably like Exorcist
But,
or something, right?
I looked and there was I think it was here, you had a Band-Aid from one eyebrow to the other.
Right.
And you were swinging. I thought, you know what? I'll
Yeah, let him sleep.
leave it alone.
Right.
And then the next day, I think I did take you in to have a couple of stitches there. I think I did.
I think it was just a butterfly Band-Aid, which is
Butterfly.
fine, but to this day I still have it. It's like, frames in my eyebrow here. You can still see that.
Oh yeah,
Half
still there.
moon cut. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look like to kind of break up the, if it happened like here, then I'd probably have a scar. It'd be more noticeable because the hair would be not growing.
Yeah.
The litany of strange babysitters over there.
And what was the one was something about the refrigerator.
What about so then the house has got, I guess, probably before I was born then, I was at a year or two in that old house on Forest, but I'm assuming that at some point that house got too small, and then looking for another house, in the Forest, and then you moved from the Forest Avenue one to the Bonnie Bray house for whatever reason. So you're only in that other house on Forest Avenue for maybe 5-6 years before you moved into the other one.
No, I think going to Bonnie Bray was kind of like downsizing a bit. I thought the house on Forest was big and 4 bedrooms upstairs.
Well, why did you guys move then? I thought the whole point of it was you expecting another kid. You probably needed a 2-bedroom house, larger yard.
I got it etched in the sidewalk there on Michael's birthday.
Yeah, that's the one on Forest.
Avenue.
Right.
And he was born in 72. I don't know, 78 jumps into mine. That would have been past your birthday.
Right. But I lived a couple of years at that Forest Park.
You
the
did?
Forest Avenue
Okay.
property.
Do you remember living at Bonnie Bray?
Bonnie Bray's the one I was raised in.
Oh, okay. Oh, geez, my mind was just on.
The Forest Avenue one was smaller. So you moved from that one to the bigger one. I don't know why you downgraded. Why would you downgrade from the one on Forest and then go to the one on Bonnie Bray by the Priory? It was because it was a bigger property. I'm guessing. I think that was smaller. I think you said the kitchen was too small there. Like it was a cramped kitchen, and then like maybe the porch area.
Wait, now what are you
small.
talking about? Which is too
The
small?
first one, when you moved in when Mike was an infant, I guess, on Forest,
No, we moved in, I think, before he was born.
or maybe
Because I remember I was pregnant trying to clean the place up. It was a real mess.
Okay,
And we got a house before he was born.
right, okay,
And then
around 78, 79, you moved into the other one
on Bonnie Bray.
On Bonnie Bray, and I'm guessing that was because you needed a slightly bigger house. 'Cause the one on Forest, which is the squared off one.
Well, no, Forest would have been bigger than Bonnie Bray, I think.
Well, why would you move? What was the
Oh,
motivation
man.
of downsizing?
I don't remember.
Remember the one on Bonnie Brae's, the one with the pond in the backyard? That's the one that you were in before you moved to this one. This house.
Oh, yeah.
That was the
And he
big
had
one.
a breakfast room, right? He had a breakfast room.
On Bonnie Brae? Yeah.
Yeah, and a big patio in the pond.
Right, the tree, that's the one on Bonnie Brae. The one on Forest was just a small American
Oh, well,
Forest
maybe it
where,
was bigger.
right. I'm guessing the most obvious answer was because it was a bigger property.
Yeah.
And that's, from my recollection, that was the motivation to move to the one on Bonnie Brae, and then that's where eventually, Mike met Bobby Bruno, and then there was the Escobars.
Kansas.
Well, first it was Bobby Bruno and Escobar, right? So those were Mike's neighborhood friends from that block, and then
Yeah.
eventually Mike
And
Hansis
Hansis lived 2 doors down.
Mike Hansis and Josh Stevens moved in.
They were your
right?
friends.
You're right. And then the Stearns moved in next to us.
And there was this kid behind us, Bobby Bruno. The rumor was his dad was in the mafia.
Right.
I remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and he was got no.
And I remember you telling me a story how maybe you or Michael walked with him down to just like a couple of blocks down. His father was playing cards at the dining room table with a whole group of
Yeah,
mobsters.
mobsters. I think it was in the basement. I don't
Or
know.
somebody was in the basement.
It was like one of those.
Well, yeah, there was another living thing down in the basement.
Right. I think Mike had some
Kitchen,
story when
bedroom.
we went downstairs. He had a bunch of guys smoking cigars or something.
Yeah, so
Hey, Mikey, come here, and they slipped him a $5 bill or something. And then there was some. I think he owned some furniture shop. Bobby Bruno's father did, but it was probably a money laundering operation. But there was like a furniture shop,
And I remember one day I heard the story. His mother, and I lived right behind us, and they were divorced at this
Right.
point. And she was driving home on North Avenue, coming out west here to her house. She was aware that this seemed like maybe somebody was following her. She wasn't sure. And then she pulls into her garage here, right behind my house. And as soon as she pulls in the garage, there's a car pulls up right behind her.
Mm-hmm.
So she rolls up the window and locks the door.
Right.
And some guy comes up and he's banging on the window glass, and she pushes a button. I don't know if it turns on an alarm or opens the door or just something,
Right.
scared him away. I remember her telling me that it was after they had divorced. And I don't know if he
Maybe
sent
they intimidate her or something.
somebody over to rough her up.
Right. Then the Escobars, and there's another family there that Mike had his set of kind of friends around his age, and then later set of my friends, Josh and Mike, moved in.
Yeah.
And Tony DeChristopher too was the other one.
Oh, yeah, I forgot
His-
that name.
His father apparently worked for the Chicago Fire Department, but theoretically they had to kind of keep it mum.
Oh, because he wasn't in the district.
Right.
He had to live in the district.
Right.
Yeah, I remember
I
that.
remember going to his basement. He had firemen's fire boots in the basement. What are these? Yard work or something. It was all.
Oh,
I suspected he was in the mob myself because it was some weird,
and we lived right up the block from Concordia. They had that huge field there, which was nice. And I
before it got
remember
developed. Yeah,
there was a
we
big
played.
tree right in the middle of it, and it was
Right. Yeah, we played guns there and stuff.
because there was a period, there was an area bordering Concordia's big open field.
Yeah,
It was
they-
all woodsy and weedy, and you
Right.
guys loved to play. It's like a jungle in there. Loved to play in there.
Right. Yeah. A lot of bike riding. They had the 7-Eleven a bit ways, when they had the Mercury Theater the other way on Bonnie Brae. You'd go
Yeah.
northbound toward North Avenue.
You
was
could
in
almost see
walking
the Mercury
distance.
IKEA.
Yeah, the kiosk, I guess you'd call that mid-century modern architecture or whatever. The Mercury Theater there, the pink neon
Yeah, you can walk to
signs
the
there.
show
But
there.
yeah, I still
And
remember
Sarah's Inn was a restaurant just right at the corner there.
the Pancake House.
Pancake House.
Yeah,
You
the
walk down
Gossage
there.
Gossage Grill on the other side of that street, kind of.
Oh, yeah.
Late stuff. I don't know if there's anything. What else? Any other big things to cover? I don't know if you want to recount like your mom's side. So she was an orphan. Basically, her father went into World War.
He was
One
killed.
for being
Oh,
deported. Yeah.
And 5-hour bus ride at this address. She gets there late at night, like around 10 o'clock at night. And the woman answers the door and lets her in. This is like Friday night. And doesn't say much. And then on Saturday, the story comes in two versions. The one version says, I'm not really your mother, but a girl out late like that from far away at 10 o'clock at night just took pity on you. But the other version of the story is the woman says, "Well, I'm your mother, but there's no room for you in my life."
Right.
So she.
And she was born. Her name was Virginia Dare.
Yeah, Virginia Dare. She was named after Virginia Dare. Historically, is the first white female born in the continental United States.
Right. So her last name was Dare. Was Virginia Dare?
No, her last name was Wilson.
Oh, Virginia Dare Wilson.
Virginia Dare Wilson. Yeah.
That was her.
Right.
And to this day, don't know how the provenance of it, but you have the dog tag. I don't know if it was the one he actually got, died. It was taken off of his neck and brought
Dog
back to
tag
the
for
United States.
Benjamin
Wilson. So he
Wilson.
might have wore that into World War One.
World War
Died
One.
with that on, and then they took it and sent it back
Yeah.
home, or if it was
that's
like
my grandfather's.
dog tag that he
Dog
probably likely wore in World War One, but we
Yeah.
don't know where he served or whether it was whatever.
Well, he was
France
over
or-
in Europe
Yeah,
when he died, probably in Germany or on the way to Germany or something.
right.
Yeah.
So someone had the wherewithal. Do you think it was a coincidence that she was named Virginia Dare? Like, hey, let's.
I don't know. Maybe they just
that
were
was-
enamored. Just thought it'd be cool to give her
Because
this
they already had
historical name,
Right. Otherwise, that.
And then I inherited the middle name. My name is Diana Dare.
Right. Gotcha. Yeah, that's interesting. Or there's some weird familial thing about Dare being the last name of someone on your mom's side of the
Well, like I
family.
say, she's recorded as the first
Yeah.
white female born in the continental United
Right.
States.
And on your mom's side, the bloodline or the family tree kind of don't have any other information
because
past Benjamin
Yes.
Wilson or on the mom's side.
Like I say, she was abandoned when she
Yeah.
was 3 years old,
Right.
so there wasn't much there to go on.
But on your dad's side, then there's Oh, I got a call in my
Well, all right, turn this.
I got a call in my my flight. But quickly on your dad's side, how much further back can you go? Is it basically
Well,
you got
like I say,
Frank
my father's father came from Germany, and my father's mother came from Lithuania,
Yeah,
and they met here
yeah,
and married.
right.
Now, I remember my grandfather supposedly had like 4 or 5 brothers,
Mhm.
and the name Gausch, Goush, was variously Gousch,
Right.
Gausch, and then there was a Gavkus, Gavcus. He had like 4
So
brothers or
So
something,
when
and
it
they
was
all,
whatever Ellis
yeah.
Island, they spoke German or whatever, misinterpreted what they or wrote it phonetically.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so you might have distant relatives.
Oh,
with
yeah,
different
yeah,
last name,
yeah.
spelling or
Yeah, my
whatever.
grandfather had 4 brothers that all eventually got over here.
Right.
So yeah, somewhere.
Right. I gotta check in for because my flight leaves at 3:45. I gotta check in 24 hours in
okay.
advance. So I
All
have
right.
5 minutes to log in. Figure out what my
Uh-huh.
So that is all for now.
Okay.
Well, we could do another one actually and do like a webcast if I'm in California. Otherwise, next time I'm out here, maybe we could pick up.
Well, that was quite a bit.